Hi, I'm Nellie Kampmann from the Center for Reincarnation Studies, here to answer your questions about reincarnation. Today's question was how you can figure out about past lives on your own without going through a psychic or a hypnotist. I'm glad you asked because actually I think that's something that everybody should do when they first start on their journey to figure out what their past lives are like. Once you go through the process of trying to figure things out on your own, you will have a better baseline of understanding about who you were, so you can compare that to the information that you eventually might receive from a psychic or through hypnotherapy, and that will help you determine how on target they were, or if you feel like the hypnotherapy was also focusing in on the right kinds of things. The first thing I suggest that people do is do a survey of their life and try to figure out things like their likes and their dislikes to try to figure out, which of these possibly could have come from past lives. For example, if you have a really strong pull towards Scotland and you don't know why, it's nothing in your family and the rest of your family doesn't care about it, that's an indicator that, possibly you had a Scottish past life at some point. Conversely, if you have a really strong dislike about something, uh, like you have something against the Swiss, uh, again, it could be indicative of something that happened in a past life. I know in my own case, I've always had kind of a disdain for ancient Roman culture, and later on in life, I found out that I had two past lives in ancient Rome, one being a slave boy and one being an abused wife. So as you can understand, ancient Roman culture would not necessarily hold any glamour for me. Uh, there are other things you can look for, like skills that you have that you don't really know how you manage to get so good at them so quickly. Like if you're a natural woodworking, but nobody in your family, again, has ever had that kind of skill or anything, no way you would have picked it up normally. Maybe you're a carpenter in a past life or something. Um, you could look for things like fears. That's a really big one. If you have an irrational fear of something and there's just no logical explanation for it, it's also possible, yeah, maybe something happened when you were a small child or something that you just forgot about, but it could have been something related to something bad that happened to you in a past life. If you want to look into this further, I strongly suggest a book by Denise Lynn. Give me a second to pull it up here. Unfortunately, I only have it on my Nook, so... here we go. Past Lives, Present Miracles by Denise Lynn. She has a questionnaire that's like pages long of things to consider when you're trying to figure out who you might have been in a past life along those lines. Your likes, your dislikes, your aptitudes. Um, do you speak foreign languages easily? Certain foreign languages easily, pick them up like that. Again, I know in my own case, I've been able, I took Russian, and I noticed that the Russian speech patterns are very similar to my own speech patterns and uses certain words that is not necessarily as common in English. So I just thought that was curious. I haven't found out if I have any Russian past lives, but I think that is an indicator. Okay, next thing I would take a look at is if have you ever had any past life kind of dreams that were set in a different culture, different time period. Um, those may or may not, again, be an indication of a past life, but I have found that from my own experience and talking to other people that when you do have that kind of dream, they tend to have an intensity to them, a very vivid quality to them that you don't get in your normal dreams. And again, I can recommend a book by Denise Lynn to help you with that. Now, obviously, with dreams, you don't have most people don't have much control over what they dream about. So, it's kind of very random to expect, oh, yeah, I think I'll just have a dream about my past lives. I'm like in my 50s and I've only had one dream like that spontaneously. But you can try to train your brain, your subconscious, to start pulling up those memories and talking to you about them in your sleep. Again, Denise Lynn has a book called The Hidden Power of Your Dreams, in which she has an entire chapter devoted to that. So that would be worth checking out. I gotta admit, I haven't read it yet myself. My reading list at this point is like 200 books long, so I'm getting to it. But generally, I find that any advice that Denise Lynn has is usually pretty on the ball. Another thing you can do is do your own meditations on past lives. there, again, is another good book by Sandra Ann Taylor, The Hidden Power of Your Past Lives. There seems to be a theme with that hidden power. Anyway, the nice thing about this is the book comes with CDs that have meditations that you can use to go back into your past lives, hopefully. And that's kind of like a less guided version of what you might go through if you underwent hypnotherapy. It will take you back. Typically, these things, what they do is they get you relaxed, so you're in more of an alpha brain state, so you can remember this kind of thing more easily, and they will have you go into like a fog or a mist or something, or down a tunnel, and as soon as you get out of the tunnel, they have you look at your feet. This is really typical to look at your feet at first to figure out which are. I think that's kind of funny, actually. But from there, yeah, they'll take you through certain points in your life, the things in your life that were usually the most dramatic events, your death, that sort of thing. One issue people have with these is a lot of times they find that the amount of time in between the points that they take you to, you feel like you're just starting to get into it and really focus on what's going on, and then they take you off to the next point. If that's a problem for you, what you can do is get something like WavePad and rip the CD and add extra space and time into those sections so that you do have a little more time to get into it more deeply, if that's what you want. You could also try the one that I made. It's called The Attic. I use a slightly different approach. Instead of taking you through a tunnel and whatnot, I have you go up to an attic, pull out a chest of old clothes and find what appeals to you most, then look into a mirror and see if that helps spark any memories. It's free at this point. It's just a beta version at this point, so you can find that on our website, reincarnationstudies.com, under the tab that has the articles, and there's one that's on how to find out about your past lives. There's a link to it in there. And those are basically the techniques that people use to find out about their past lives on their own that I'm aware of, or I can think of off the top of my head. So hopefully that is helpful to you. And again, if people have any other questions, just get on our website, pop us a note, and we'll be happy to see if we can answer them for you. Thank you.